Call and Response by the Shoulder Stoppers, a group from HVU Lifelines. What is call and response? Call and response allows you to make a connection through poetry. Participants repeat lines of the poem after the speaker has spoken them. This is done to exercise the resident's body and mind because some of them may have difficulty speaking. By adding in motions, we are also able to engage their kinesthetic and motor memory skills, creating a total body response to the activity. This is a crucial warm-up to get participants engaged, their mental wheels turning, and overall giving you both more benefits. How call and response works. First, pick a poem. Second, go to the partner's home or place of residence. Introduce the idea. Start by reading aloud the title and author, and wait for the participants to verbally repeat after you. Continue for every line of the poem, always stopping at the end for the participants to repeat. Make sure the entire group, not just the call and response leader, is familiar with the poem. This allows you to be familiar with the content, giving you ideas for motions, eliminating chances for mispronunciation, and reducing confusion among the participants. Tips for choosing poems. Upstairs in the Deal House, where the memory care patients reside, try to focus on upbeat, uncomplicated, and shorter poems. Lighter topics seem to go over best. Downstairs in the Taylor Village, where residents are more self-functioning, residents can keep up with more challenging topics, provide insightful answers, however they still like to laugh. Choose famous authors or poetry from their youth when possible. Take a look at the resident book. Note their ages and interests so that you can hone in on your audience's likes and dislikes. It will be easier for you to spend more time with them, but try to do a little bit of background checking beforehand. Be careful if you are planning to use a very modern poem for one simple reason. You run the risk of misconnection. The residents could possibly not understand the subject matter or have no emotional or memory connection to it. Check in with Ms. Walker if you would like a second opinion. How to get your residents more involved with call and response. Try avoiding openers such as, I'm going to read a poem and you're going to read it back to me. First, they, just like you, don't like being told what to do. Second, try to be a little more persuasive. Convince them that it will be fun and they will be doing you a favor. For example, try, I wanted to share a poem with you that relates to our topic. Would you read it with me? Don't be afraid to be silly. Get to know your residents and make jokes. This will break the ice and make them more comfortable with being involved. Otherwise, you may be reading a poem to a silent room. How to add movements that coincide with your poem. First, pick easy words from the poem. Ask residents or the participants to think of a motion that resembles the word. Then have everyone mimic the movement when the word appears in the poem. Read through the poem again with pauses, with the added in movements. This will make it more fun and easier for them to remember. For example, for the word look, place your hand against your forehead like a salute and then move your head side to side. In this photo, workshop leaders were captured referring to the theme of rain. They asked some of the residents to put their hands together, others to pat their thighs, and the remaining residents to stomp their feet. When the leaders said go, everyone did their movements for approximately 2 minutes, and then they all stopped. The residents reported they felt as if they were experiencing a rainstorm indoors. This movement or activity they completed was an idea provided from a team leader who used this previously in school. When searching for fun activities, be resourceful. Don't be afraid to use your previous knowledge or think outside of the box. Here's a sample poem that you could possibly use in one of your workshops. I will read the first stanza to you and then have a question. Be glad your nose is on your face by Jack Preletsky. Be glad your nose is on your face, not pasted on some other place, for if it were where it is not, you might dislike your nose a lot. Where do you think this poem would be best suited? Deal House or Taylor Village? If you predicted that the previous poem would be best suited for Deal House, you were correct. Here's another sample poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost, that I would like you to contrast to the previous one. I will read the first stanza to you. Whose woods these are I think I know, his house in this village, though. He will not see me stopping here To watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it's queer To stop without a farmhouse near, Between the woods and frozen lake, The darkest evening of the year. Taking into consideration the content, vocabulary, and rhythm of this poem, it is obviously much more difficult. This one would be more suited for the Taylor Village downstairs residents. Here is the personal opinion of one HBU Lifeline student. Call and response can seem like the most daunting aspect of your workshop, but don't avoid it. It's an important part of the work we do, and it's a great warm-up. The sooner you learn to engage your audience with jokes, personal references, and a good attitude, the sooner you will be accepted. Do not be intimidated if the residents do not respond well to your first try. Simply analyze the situation and strategize. Consider if maybe it was the poem itself, if you read too quickly, perhaps you did not hook them to begin with. Always bring more than one poem to try again or to keep the ball rolling. You'll be able to clearly see when they were invested in a poem through smiles, laughter, or the comments afterward. Always pay attention to the residents' reaction to decide your next course of action. No matter what, remember to have fun. Click on the hyperlink provided to view an example of call and response. This video is found on YouTube, provided by the Alzheimer's Project, not HBU Lifelines, but it's still a good example of many factors needed to facilitate a good session. Individual attention, togetherness, and of course, verbal exercise.